Today on the My Story podcast, I am joined by Ben Daly, also known as TIAMETMARDUK here on YouTube. Now, I've known Ben for nearly 10 years at this point. He was actually one of the very first people I spoke to when I started up my F1 YouTube channel back in 2011. He's always been fantastic to speak to. We made quite a few videos, especially back in the day. We did a lot of league racing together, even though he was incredibly quick in comparison to me. He was always there to sort of chat to me and help me improve when need be. But nonetheless, some incredible stories in here. Of course, Ben started off in Australia when he'd started his channel, but over the last couple of years has moved to the UK and some big things have happened since. So hopefully you enjoy the stories. Thanks again, Ben, for your time. I really appreciate it. And hopefully you'll enjoy the podcast. So Ben, you've been on YouTube for quite a long time now. I'm interested to know, where did this start? Was it sort of Call of Duty? That's what a lot of people started on back then, or was it something else that sort of got you into YouTube?
I did play Call of Duty back then, but it was never my intention to upload Call of Duty videos. It was league racing, actually, so quite niche. There was this website called Apex Racing League, which I got introduced to from some online friends who I was just, racing with, like the likes of X-Matty G and some of his friends who are no longer around. And we kind of just got sick of getting taken out in open lobbies and the normal stuff, and we decided to just take it a bit more seriously and have some clean racing. And I just got involved in that, and then I saw other people were making really, really cool videos, like Fizzy Fan, yourself as well. You were a much bigger inspiration a little further along, but I started uploading my own stuff, and it was never an intention to blow up on YouTube or make it a career or anything. Honestly, Alex, I literally just wanted to show off my races to my friends, and it turned into this.
Oh, that's crazy. How things can just change within a few years. I suppose you never knew that when you started, but it's pretty mental. So in the early days, you said you were not just doing, it still takes time, but setups and so on, league racing. How much time were you putting into YouTube? Was it very much just, I'll do this after school or whatever, and then I'll just get back to it a few days later?
I think it was like a part-time thing, because at the time I was doing university. I was practicing for league racing a lot, and videos was just kind of like a side project. Just sweating out, and then I started off with setups and the league races, and then just kind of went from there for a while. It wasn't until when was it, 2012, 2013, where I started to make other types of videos. I started to dive into career mode, and I started watching your videos, and I was like, oh, people actually commentate on F1 videos. That actually looks pretty fun. And so I gave it a go, and it really just took off. It was a bit of a whirlwind. Yeah.
I'm interested now, actually, because Australia's always had a great connection with Formula One. Are you sort of day one, always motorsport? V8 supercars obviously massive over there as well. Were you just always into motorsport since you were very young? Yeah,
I got introduced to it quite early. I think V8 supercars got me into it. My dad started watching it. This was 2003, around then. But I was watching that and really into the sport. I didn't even know about F1 at this point. It wasn't until 2009 where I first started to hear about F1. I was playing other racing games like Forza. Started off with Crash Team Racing, I think. Lots of weird stuff, and then I finally got into F1. What was the question again?
I guess how you got into motorsport, but yeah, you've answered it well. Guess early on, 2003, as you got into the V8 supercars, and then it just all goes on from there. I guess it's similar to me. I don't think Formula One was the first thing I watched, but it was now is obviously the main thing I watch.
Yeah, it tends to be the way it goes. It's normally a family member, like a dad or something. You just kind of share that passion and just go from there. It's really cool. But it's funny that you say that Australia has a deep affinity with F1. I actually quite think the opposite. Not many people at all. See, motorsport is a bit more of a niche in that part of the world, especially F1, because it's European. And so apart from my dad, I I think even still to this day, don't know anyone who really watches F1. So coming here to the UK, where it's so much more mainstream in a way, is actually really nice to meet and talk to so many more F1 people.
I was just thinking, I mean, Alan Jones, was he in like the 80s? Then there was was there quite a big gap then to like Mark Webber? Was it? I'm sure there must have been some other drivers in there, but
I'm not sure actually, because it's just so hard to for Australian race drivers to break into Europe. They tend to stay in Australia and do the local supercars series. There could be someone in between Jones and Webber, but no one comes to mind. Someone will correct me in the comments.
I want to jump back to the videos quickly in the early ones, because setups. I mean, you look at your, you put on oldest first on your channel, and you look at like the first, I guess 50. I'd say at least half of them are like setup videos. Was it just because you were getting pestered about why you were so quick, or what was the reason for going to like setup videos straight away?
I don't actually know. I think it was just kind of helping people. I had a lot of knowledge of how to be fast at the game back then. I sweated it out a lot, and I just knew a bit, and in a way they were kind of easy to make. A lot less effort than say like a career mode video or anything else really that you kind of make today. I feel like they were kind of more popular then, because good setups were a lot harder to come by. It was a bit more of a mystery. You couldn't download the fastest time trial setup back then, and so there was a real benefit to making those types of videos. Nowadays, they don't even work on my channel anymore. So I do other stuff, but back then it was kind of what set me apart from maybe the other established YouTubers at the time.
Well, yeah, you were quick. I mean, I don't know. There was a few of us back then. I don't know if any of us were super quick, or even just quick. So I think you definitely came in and sort of, changed things up a bit. But yeah, I'm interested as well. Like looking at those early videos, I assume you probably pirated a few. Like I've definitely done that. One of the first 10 videos on your channel has got over 1 million views. That's kind of crazy when you look back at it. The safety car crash one.
Explodes my car. Yeah. Well, Alex, I can guarantee that is not one of my first 10 videos. I think I privated a lot of the ones that didn't do as well. So it might look like an instant success, but that's definitely not the case. There was so many videos. If you look at my very first video, it's a hot lap around Bahrain. I probably did around 50, 60 videos like that, where I was pointing a laptop at a TV, and they were all just really bad quality, both video and audio wise. I mean, half of those videos had copyrighted music over them, so I had to delete most of them. So yeah, you got to start somewhere on YouTube, and I think just getting started and getting that experience is what you need to just keep going.
And you sort of continue doing the setup stuff into 2012 as well. As you said, more recently it doesn't matter as much because you can download stuff so much simpler, but you did start to venture into sort of commentary style videos. I was really worried about putting my voice online, because I definitely went back and deleted some videos where I'm just nothing, but I look back at them and obviously I'm fine with it now, but back then I was so petrified putting my voice online early on. Did you have that, or was it just a bit more natural for you?
Oh, no, of course. I was the same. It's just so alien to just talk to a camera or a microphone. And I'm not really an overly talkative person, so it took a long time for me to get some confidence. But, when you see that people like your videos and enjoy it, it's really confidence inspiring. But my first videos were absolutely atrocious. I was using literally, it looked like a 20-year-old headset. The quality was horrific. I sounded all nasally, and no, it's just I still have
equipment's come a long way.
It has,
Equipment's come a long way to help us though at the same time, because I mean, if you think back to 2010, 2011, if you wanted to get a good mic, you were spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I mean, maybe you are nowadays, but I guess it's easier to afford it when you've all got a job and so on.
Yeah, it was so hard, and now the kids of today, or the YouTubers of today, are quite lucky. You can go into any game or any kind of electronics store and pick up a nice quality, just dedicated microphone, because YouTube is so much more mainstream now. Whereas back when I started, I had to search for ages just to find a decent USB microphone. I think it was the Blue Snowball, which I eventually upgraded to. Yeah, I think I genuinely, I think I saw your videos and saw you had it. I was like, Alex's voice sounds pretty good. I'm going to get that.
I think I started off with like a cheap headset as well. And then as soon as you go to just a good microphone, it revolutionizes your videos. I mean, people don't really realise that. I don't think none of us realised it back then, how much of a difference it actually makes. But you look back at them now, that ones with a good mic don't sound too bad.
Yeah,
still today.
I think in many ways, audio is kind of more important than good video. Just keeps the viewer engaged and keeps that viewer retention going. So yeah, it's very important.
Like crackly audio, you're like,
yeah, you just can't listen to it. Yeah, it's horrible.
The early days, as you said earlier on, you doing league races. I mean, do you want to mention how many hours a day you were putting into get into a league race? I mean, were they once a week or twice a week? How sort of much time were you actually able to put into one race?
So it was once a week. Back in those days, I was only doing one race a week for ARL, and I don't really know. I think it was a few hours a day. I don't know, one or 2 hours. It's tricky, because I would just jump on Xbox and just chill out with my mates, and we'd sweat and do qualifying practice and lots of other games. But I probably want to say maybe an hour or two a day.
That's not overly excessive when you think about how much time people are spending on games now, especially when we're sort of locked in. I mean, people are spending 10, 12 hours a day.
Like the esports guys now. They go to an event and they get asked like how much preparation they put in. It's like 8 hours a day. It's like, what? How do you have time to eat and do other things? Yeah. It's crazy.
It's fair play, like the dedication to that. I mean, I don't think I could ever do that for F1 or any game, to be honest.
It's fair play to them. That takes a lot of dedication and just honing in your craft and just preparing for all situations. It's ridiculous. They definitely earn their money.
Yeah, no, exactly. Massive fair play to all those guys. One of your early series, I mean, as soon as I say this, you're going to know. Why did the idea of the Cucumber Challenge come about? I mean, I remember at the time, it was absolutely hilarious. I loved it. Was it just that one little Sebastian Vettel quote that sparked something in your mind? I've got to make some sort of series out of this?
That was a bit of an inspiration as well, but I think I want to say, and this is just me being brutally honest, I think I just ripped off the idea from Arav. I saw he did a Mana or Marussia kind of career mode, and he had a lot of fun with that, and I kind of wanted to do the same, but in my own way, because I knew I could. With my pace, I could maybe make this a really interesting series on the hardest difficulty. I think it was. I mean, the hardest difficulty back on F1 2012 or whatever it was nothing special. But fighting for wins in a HRT, which is like 3 seconds off the pace, was absolutely hilarious. And it was the first time where I really push the boundaries with my commentary style. I did do one season of career mode prior to that. It was just a bulk standard career mode. I was learning the ropes a little bit. It was in the Williams. But then in this, I really tried to take more of an entertainment and humorous style of creating content. And I think it really helped me learn a lot and learn new skills and stuff like that. And I think it really set me up for F1 2013, which came out like literally just after that series finished. So really grateful for that series because I learned a lot from it, and it was like people who watched it back then absolutely loved it.
Yeah, no, it was an iconic series at the time, definitely. Well, still today, I suppose if you look at F1 YouTuber history, that's one of the first ones out there.
I'd watch it back now and I'd probably just cringe so much because I'd sound so different. Even like 2015 me sounds quite different to now. I don't know. I don't understand how your voice can just change.
I suppose it might be like the microphones and stuff. I don't know. Maybe you just adapt yourself to what you think people want to hear. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
I'm interested to know about the early. Well, we'll get on to F1 2030 in a second. But like just before it sort of started to get big time, were you getting any sort of negativity towards you? I mean, I remember back in the early days of F1 YouTube that it wasn't always the calmest of places. There were always people having a go at each other, which Thank God it's not so much like that today, but did you ever get worried about that, or did it ever affect you, or was it all quite plain sailing?
I don't think it was too bad. I think the worst that I really got was you're corner cutting in a video, or you spun out Raikkonen or something. It's just pretty mundane stuff like that. And I think this was at a time when because you were there was a bit of, I think the community was a little bit more angsty back then. There was the likes of Athlete and Mickey Motions and all those guys having a go at each other, and this was at a time when Athlete saying I treat YouTube as a business, and that was massive drama apparently. Simpler times.
When you look back at that now, when you're doing it as a job, I assume tens, 50, maybe hundreds of people within the race community doing it as a job, so just back then, I guess maybe it rubbed up people the wrong way, which I guess is fair enough.
Yeah, it was just so new back then. Like you can treat it as a job, but you can still have fun with it. Of course, I don't think people really understood that concept.
Well, let's get on to F1 2013, because I don't know. For me, looking back at all this, it was quite a trip down memory lane. Looking back at your old videos, that's when it really, to me, it looks like kick-started. Videos are getting 10,000 views, some hundreds of thousands of views. Was that the key moment you that sort of switch to, well, I can take this seriously now?
Oh yeah. 2013 was the game changer. I think I had around 7,000 subscribers at the launch of F1 2013. In a month, I went from 7k to 14k, and I got the game as early as I could. I think I made the most of having a 10-hour head start of being in Australia.
God damn it.
No, but you guys, you probably don't remember this, but you guys got the game a few days early, and I was like, I wish that was me. Yeah, this is so it was you, Alex Gillen, Game Riot. You went to Codemasters in a few months earlier, got some preview content, and then you also probably got the game a few days early.
Wow, I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, I remember, and I was like, damn, I got to work twice as hard now. I'm grateful now because I worked really, really hard to get out more and more videos and just keep the momentum going. And a lot of those videos really banged. Like my first career mode video, there was a 100% race I did at Monaco as Lewis Hamilton, which is my most popular video to date. It's got 2 mil views. It's I don't know how that happened, but it just keeps ticking over kind of thing. And yeah, people just really jumped on board at the channel at that time, and that's when I thought I could probably do this as a job. I wasn't ready to do it but I was taking the steps towards getting there. And I think in 2014, towards the latter cycle of the game, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad, because one of my biggest regrets for those early years of YouTube was just not putting enough time in it. I try my best just to get a video out a day, and I look back at it now, and it was just not putting enough time into stuff, and therefore the videos weren't good. I mean, obviously some were okay, but I'm always disappointed in myself that I didn't make better stuff back then. But I think it's pretty clear around that time you, Arav, a few other people really started to blow up. I think that was the splitting point, when the people that just took it a bit more seriously and put more time in it, and then there's me and other people that just didn't. And yeah, I'm happy that some people made a living out of this.
It's tough, man, because videos, people don't understand just how long it takes to make them, just let alone one, let alone just trying maybe 2 a day, or trying to upload every day. It just takes up so much time. I was quite fortunate in the fact that I only had uni, and by that point I'd kind of binned it off, and I wasn't doing anything else, so I put a lot of time into YouTube at that time. So it takes a lot of sacrifice, I guess, a lot of dedication, and sometimes it can take a lot of, I don't know, pointless hours. You might think it's not going anywhere, but those first 1,000 subscribers or whatever it is, just it will be your hardest to gain. But as long as you can get the ball rolling, it's like a snowball effect, YouTube. If you can just get some momentum, it really just works for you. Yeah.
I've had a couple of moments like that in my time on YouTube, little moments, I guess, where one video's done well and you get a bit of momentum going, but it's just always following it up, and I've always struggled to do that. So I try my best to do it now, and put more time into stuff. But yeah, it's great that you, Arav, and a few more people were actually probably did it and, you know, making a proper career out of it. So I'm very happy for you guys. I guess it was unprecedented really to have a YouTube channel at this sort of size. Like F1 YouTube channels were growing exponentially at this point, and you were obviously right in the middle of it. So how were you dealing with this, like, mentally? Because it's, I guess, numbers, it's probably all getting quite a lot for you, right?
I don't know. I don't know. If I obviously I thought about it, and there was always like the target of, I guess, catching the next person, as bad as that sounds. But I was just uploading videos and just testing the waters and continuing to see, like, you know, what works and what doesn't. I think it's worth mentioning as well, around before I blew up on YouTube, I actually stopped league racing as well. So I went more down the content creator side, and my pace on the F1 games has never been the same since. But, you know, that's the kind of sacrifices you need to make. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because it's such a long time ago. But I just kept going. I think the massive goal was always to reach 100,000 subscribers, and I think a lot of people were adamant that, like, it couldn't be done by an F1 channel. But the games just kept rolling out, the videos kept coming, and eventually we got there. So it was a really awesome feeling to get there. And now I have those same feelings, those same doubts, everything about 1 million subscribers, which feels like it's I don't know, the Mount Everest.
I assume it probably feels like it's a massive way away, but in reality, if you just keep pumping out and keep the quality up, you know, hopefully it won't be too far down the line. But I suppose it's impossible to say, really.
It is, yeah. Like, things can just change at the drop of a hat. Like, I'm nearly halfway there now. But yeah, just one banging series or a video idea or whatever, like it can just change the game. And that's something I've realized over the years, is just you don't have to, like, count on a new game in order to grow. Like, if you just create, like, really good content or whatever, like, you can still make the most of it. So yeah, just continuing to push what you can do.
It's funny you say that, actually, because I've got Return to Glory with Arab down here as a series that sort of revolutionised this sort of genre. And is it crazy to think that, obviously back then you were still growing as channels, but right now you're by far and away the top two, like, F1 creators? I mean, obviously JD's up there as well now, but it's pretty mental when you think about it. You can't have had too many subs when you started that series with Arab.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I've always collaborated with YouTubers who are smaller than me. So I'm waiting for that big shout out from, like, a Forza YouTuber or something. I don't know. Yeah, that was a really good series. But to be honest, I just made videos with friends, people who I got on with. It's not a case of I don't know, people get angry when they reach out to me and I don't, like, collaborate with them. It's not because they're a small channel. Like, you could have no subscribers and I'd want to collaborate you if you're, like, my friend. Like, the chemistry has to be there. Like, it has to be a good video kind of thing. So yeah, like, Road to Glory, Return to Glory was really fun. It definitely helped grow us a little bit, which is something I feel like we should do a little bit more of now. I feel like the whole collab scene has dropped off a little bit. I don't know if that's just this community or whether that's YouTube in general, but collabing was a lot more popular. So we should get back to it.
It was different. It was slightly different back in the days. I guess everyone had the same objective of just wanting to grow, but right now, I guess some people want to just stay in their lane. But I guess that's fair enough if you don't want to.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because if two people make the same video on something, someone might only want to watch one, or I think the better way to go is to, like, make, like, 2 videos or something, do 2 completely different ideas. But yeah, I do miss those days, like, making videos with friends, like, you know, Road to Glory or Return to Glory. I keep getting the name wrong. Sprint Mode Championship, YouTuber Championship. I've recently started making videos with Scott again, and yeah, collabing with him is just always so funny. Yeah, need more of it.
Yes, yes, we do. I'm interested actually because was it around 2013 when you were thinking, or were you going full time with it? You say, did you drop out uni? I can't remember the exact story there, but how did this all come about, and how are you still doing YouTube full time?
Fun fact. So, technically speaking, I'm still in uni. I never unenrolled from it, but I think I had 10 years to run my course, which started in 2010. I think I might be off the books now. So, 2013, things blew up for me a little bit. I put a lot of time into making videos. I was still doing it semi-regularly here and there. Kind of died off in the winter break a little bit, but I got back into it as the 2014 season started up a little bit again, and then kept plugging away. And then by 2014, like the new game coming out there, I was like, yeah, I'm 100% doing YouTube. Because I think around 2013, 2014, I was still going to uni and still studying a bit. But I think after 2014, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going back anymore. So it's been from 2014 onwards, it's been like my full focus.
Wow, it's like 6 years now. It's mental.
It is.
It's really crazy.
It doesn't, in a way, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but now looking back at it, it actually is a long time. And it's funny, like some people get sick of making the same kind of content. I'm definitely not bored of making F1 videos. Of course, I like to branch out a lot more these days, like an iRacing or Assetto Corsa, and do mods and fun stuff. But F1 is still the main focus, and I still get super excited when a new F1 game gets announced, released, whatever. It's just like, yeah, I just love it. So it's very easy for me to keep doing it.
I'm actually interested about what you were saying. Obviously, all this with uni, and obviously in Australia, and this whole time when 99% of this community is in Europe. Was it hard to sort of collaborate with the community at that time? Were you having to stay up till like 2 a.m. to get stuff done? I assume you probably were.
Yeah, it was a little bit difficult just being on a completely different time zone. I had to sort of ruin my sleep schedule to really get anything done. So like even league racing, I had to get up at 5 a.m. to take part, and it would either be a case of not sleeping, which I started to do a lot towards the end, and I think that burnt me out. But the majority of the time I was going to bed at, say, practicing the night before on Sunday night till like midnight, and then having 4 hours sleep or whatever it was, getting up and trying to be competitive. But then moving along to the YouTube thing, having to stay up in order for people to wake up in the UK and be available to make videos and stuff like that. And even just watching F1 races in Europe, which were on around midnight and whatever. It was difficult, and it's something that I really appreciate now, being on the current time zone. It definitely makes things a lot easier. But yeah, it was just one of those things I did. I just loved F1, so I just did it.
That's actually interesting. Now you've mentioned the time zones, I guess that makes sense to why Formula One isn't so big or maybe wasn't so big in Australia. But I don't know, did the whole Ricciardo going to Red Bull, doing well, did that get some momentum like it's done with sort of, the Netherlands and Verstappen? I think it initially started off with like Webber doing well, challenging for the title in 2010. That's definitely like what got my dad and then subsequently me into F1. But then, I think Ricciardo has been a bit of a blessing for Australia. He's got a lot more. He's got a lot of personality. He's quite charismatic, and I think the media here love him. And so, F1 has certainly been put on the map a bit more in Australia since Ricciardo's been around. And I'm interested about the F1 2015 game because obviously you were involved in a few big championships and series in that game. I mean, the Sprint Mode Championship, the YouTube Championship. I guess they go down in F1 YouTube history now as probably some of the most iconic series. I mean, how awesome is that to be a part of? And I guess you'll always be known as one of the people that was in that now because, people always are asking for it to come back.
It's ridiculous. Like at the time, it was just me, Matt, Harry, and Arav and Scott. Just being idiots on the F1 game and having a laugh, and didn't realize at the time, but it was a really awesome series, and you talk to anyone, or talk to any of my fans, even like new ones, and they know what YouTuber Championship is. It's ridiculous. Like the F1 social media account, whenever they mention me, they more often than not mention YouTuber Championship. It's ridiculous. Like the amount of reach that it has, considering it's an old series. I love it so much. They were some of my favorite videos to ever make.
I guess you've got so many great personalities all together. Even though it's only 4, it's still amazing.
Yeah, I think it was the right amount of people. Everyone gets to have a voice, and it's not too crowded, and we all just like bounced off each other. We all brought something different to the table. It was just funny. Yeah, yeah.
Although, I mean, that series and F1 2015 and 14 sort of propelled your channel towards 100,000, and obviously you got that achievement, which you said that you thought you might never get. Do you sort of remember where you were when you were looking at your phone or whatever when that milestone ticked over?
Yeah, I was just doing what I'm doing now. I was just sitting on my computer. I think it was it was quite late. It might have been 3 or 4 in the morning, and I was staying up. I was like determined. I'm not missing this milestone. I think I was recording it on my phone and everything, and it was a big watch party. Like I was talking about it on Twitter. People were watching with me, and it was just awesome, man. It's just, yeah, 100K was a big deal, and I imagine if I ever get there, a million will be the same thing. So yeah,
I think when you just try and put that amount of people in front of you, it's insane. I mean, I don't know what the biggest football stadium in the UK is. I don't know, like 75,000, and then you've got an extra 25,000 on top of that. It's so hard to put into perspective, isn't it, really?
Yeah, like a stadium full of people, and they have all at some point decided to press this button to say that they want to watch more videos. Could you imagine just trying to entertain a crowd of people like that big? It's just, it's overwhelming. You try not to think about it, obviously. It's just, you got to be in the moment when you're making videos and just think it's just me and the camera, and that seems to work. If I was ever chucked in front of people, I think I would crumble.
I mean, it's hard to tell until you actually do it, to be fair. I think you've had so many experiences over the last 10 years, I think you'd be alright, but yeah.
I suppose
it depends whether you want to do it or not, really.
It's funny, like, I was one of those people who really struggled with doing... You ever do like oral presentations, like a PowerPoint presentation in front of the class? Oh, like that was my worst nightmare. Like I'd be shaking, I wouldn't want to stuff up. It's just, and that's like full of 10 or 20 people maximum, and I upload a video and 200 people will view it in a minute or something. It's ridiculous. I would be very interested to know, like, if I was chucked in the same scenario again, how I would feel. I think the thought of still presenting in front of people is probably still daunting to me, but I'd like to try just to see if I deal with it better.
I mean, you probably got opportunities to do presenting and stuff in the future, so I guess we'll see at some point.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I've got a note down here that you sort of started to spend a bit more time in the UK. With that was going to Codemasters, doing feedback, seeing people over here. Around 2015, 2016, I've written down here. Was there any thought in your head then that you wanted to move to the UK, or was it very much just, I'm visiting right now?
I think the thought of moving to the UK was probably a bit too much for me. I was just happy to go there and visit. I was a person who never really travelled in my life until 2015. And the first time, that was actually the first time I left Australia, was to go to the UK, I think at the end of 2015, to then meet my girlfriend. And then not long after, I came back for the first beta test, or whatever it was, for 2016, where I met Matt, I met Arav, I met so many people. I met the team at Codemasters and saw what it takes to make a Formula 1 game, and that was really, really awesome. But yeah, I'm straying off the question, but yeah, coming to the UK, that was really awesome. It was completely different culture to what I'm used to, and it was just really cool to travel and see something that isn't a very hot, dry
what
country.
You're used to.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird because a lot of people in England want to go to Australia or whatever. It's like, I guess sometimes you want what you can't have.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, Australia is really good. It's a really good place to go and travel and like visit. Living there is fine. Like the lifestyle is really good if you like the beach and the outdoors and whatever. But I'll be honest, like I actually, sorry to any Australians watching, I actually love living in the UK a lot more than living in Australia. Yikes.
I don't deal with heat well. Maybe you're someone like that as well. I mean, even like today when it's sort of kind of hot here, I'm better in Australia. This would be just like a cold day, right?
Yeah, this is like a normal day in Australia. It's constantly above 30 in any of the summer months. But we also deal with the heat better because we have air conditioning, we have fans, we have pools or whatever. I think in a way also the heat is a bit different because the humidity, it's a drier heat, whereas it's a lot more humid here. So like if it's the same temperature in Australia and the UK is going to feel a little bit worse, I think.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't have it. Yeah, it's not as bad as what you think it is back in Australia.
Okay,
there you go.
Yeah, I guess we get the sort of perspective here that it's really hot, but nonetheless, I'm getting off subject now. I've written down that you had some pretty awesome experiences, even in the stages where you weren't obviously you haven't got the amount of subscribers you got now, but you're going V8 supercars, hot laps. Do you have any recollections of those amazing experiences back then? I mean, I watched the V8 supercars hot laps for this video, and I was like, this just looks mental. This looks insane.
Yeah, I'd never had an experience like that ever. That was always a dream to get driven around in a supercar. Like you'd think, oh, one day it'd be awesome to like buy that kind of experience or something. But one day I just got approached by Nissan. They said, hey, you want to jump in a supercar? And I was like, hell to the yeah. And I got in, and I like to think I'm a bit of a thrill seeker when it comes to like race cars and just going fast in general. And I loved it. Things were so fast. They don't have a lot of downforce. They're a big, heavy car. But the speeds that they could pull through the corners and especially through the braking, like the stopping power was insane. Like you just get thrown forward. They get a little bit of sideways action on exit as well. They were driving on old tires on a hot day, and the sensation of drifting a little bit, that was absolutely crazy. But it was inner me was absolutely loving life. It was just one of the greatest experiences of my life for sure. I think got to give it a go.
Through all this like quarantine stuff, I think that the V8 Supercar series has come out really well because I've been watching all the stuff on iRacing. It's been like insane. I mean, I've always tried to keep up with it, but it's not been so easy in the UK. But now I just want to watch every single race because it's like the characters and everyone. It just seems like a really good series. Yeah,
I'm a diehard supercars fan. But I'll be honest, it's even for someone who's actively trying to look for it and wants to watch it, I find it very hard because at the time zones, it's on like in the middle of the night, and I don't really know any channels that actually show it, so I think you have to watch it back on YouTube or whatever, and even just getting up early enough to watch the E-Series is pretty difficult, but they do a great job with their category. The racing is always really close. If you're a motorsport fan, V8 Supercars is amazing. You should definitely give it a go. And the E-Series that they've got going is really good too. It's really professional. They've got the proper commentators involved. They're getting celebrities involved and stuff like that. And they're running it on iRacing, which is one of the best online platforms that you can utilize. So give it a go.
I think just watching iRacing is kind of mental. Sometimes you have to double take to see whether it's real life. The progress it's made, because I went back and watched my old iRacing videos and it didn't look like this. So there's obviously been some big updates over the last sort of 5 or 6 years. Yeah,
graphics is coming along really well, and they've done a lot in terms of physics as well. They're constantly updating the tyre models and trying to introduce weather stuff, day-night transitions. Hopefully one day there'll be wet weather races. They've introduced driver changes, which has completely revolutionized the way that the big events go down, like the big endurance events like 24 Hours of Le Mans or Sebring, Bathurst, the like. I recently did Indy 500 last weekend, and I love that event. It's so fun. It's if you love sim racing, give the big iRacing events a go. They're just so fun, especially if you can get some mates around and do it in a big group. It's just so fun.
I agree. I totally agree. iRacing has definitely got me hooked over the last couple of months again. I'm interested to speak about this sort of 2016, 2017 time. I mean, obviously you're still doing YouTube full time now, but I think there's probably still stuff in contracts where you can't talk about obviously how much money you were earning, but the inconsistency of YouTube income. I mean, I've never really had to deal with it because I've never done it as a full-time job. But is there ever anything you worry about, or is it stable enough to sort of just get on with life as normal?
I think for me, it's stable enough at the size that I am, but there is always the constant worry: is your channel gonna get taken down, whether it be copyright or like new regulations coming in, like what was it, like Article 15 and limitations on ads and changing policies, and that we had like the adpocalypse stuff recently, and in the end things always turn out well, and you got to remember that YouTube first and foremost will always want to keep monetizing their platform and wanting to make money from that, and creators obviously want to keep going. So you never know, like the bubble could burst one day, but hopefully it doesn't. And it's always good to try and diversify like your income and not just have YouTube. So that's why things like Twitch, which is really, really popular these days, building that platform up as well and utilizing it is quite important. So, yeah.
I don't know. I never would have expected when, we started doing videos in like 2011, 2012, that I thought honestly at that sort of time YouTube wasn't going to exist in 10 years. There's no way it can. I mean, it just felt not sustainable in a way. I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was going to keep going, but it just has, and it's just blown up multiple times.
It's still here. It's crazy. Who knows how long it'll be around for? Like, there still is yet to be a viable competitor come along, and I think that's the reason why. But I think like YouTube could die, but I don't think that online video content creation will die. It might just go to another platform, like it does every so often. But I like YouTube, and I want it to be successful. I want it to keep going. We'll see what the future holds. But
see where it goes.
Yeah.
I'm interested about the whole Codemasters thing in like 2016 and 2017, because obviously you went both years. How important to you was it to be listened to by Codemasters, and then how interesting is it to see some of the stuff you've mentioned being put into the game?
Yeah, it's vitally important. Like there's a lot of pressure on us to help shape the game and put a lot of the community's opinions forward. Obviously, there's back then there was a lot of things that weren't in the game yet that were really lacking, that we really needed, and we helped steer some ideas and give some feedback, and a lot of those ideas are starting to trickle through now. Like Arab had a lot of good ideas, you had some good ideas, Scott has been really beneficial to Codemasters because he's actually been the voice of a lot of the casual players, and I'm sure that Scott might have had some inspiration in that assist that's coming out in 2020 that helps people steer and stuff. So it was really, really cool, and it actually gave I think a lot of us a bit of understanding and appreciation of what it takes to make a game, and it's not as simple as just chucking some code in and it going all right. Like there's a thorough testing process, and there's a lot of people who care about what they do, and they want the game to succeed as much as we do. So it was a real eye-opening, and the games, I've got to say, since then have become really good. I'm not saying that's down to us, but they really do care about community feedback. Codemasters is one of the best companies for that, I would say. So I'm really excited to see like where the franchise goes in the next few years. It's only getting more and more momentum. So I'd love to see it be huge, like FIFA or Madden or whatever. It has the potential to. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it does.
Yeah, I've always appreciated that Codemasters are so active within this community. So even though I've only personally been a small part of it, it's great that you and Arab and many more people have a big voice now in helping shape the game. Because I mean, I know in real terms, we're still only a small percentage of the amount of players that play it, but it's nice to get that percentage in there. I mean, I think it's obviously helped with the whole esports stuff as well. I mean, I think that, from league racing, and now it's, people are getting paid proper wages to, play games, which is mental within F1.
Yeah, it's mad. That esports is now as big as what it is. Back then, league racing, that was the highest level of competition that we had, and now there's Formula One teams getting involved, drivers are showing up and getting involved and being friendly with the esports guys and making appearances, and hell, even this year now the drivers are playing the game regularly and getting all familiar with everyone. It's just awesome just to see how far the community has come in these last few years. If you would have told me 5 years ago, I honestly would not believe you. It's
I know, it seems like kind of like a dream, like the perfect scenario, but it's pretty mental. I've got something about F1 2017 here. Obviously, it was a really successful game for you, but I'm interested to know what the typical sort of day was for you as a YouTuber full time. I mean, you've got to live your life, you've got to do other stuff outside of YouTube. So, how much time were you putting in per day when you could do it full time and it was your full time job?
It varies greatly depending on if things are going well or not. So, like, if say like launch window, like when the game is coming out, I will probably no life the game for about a month. So it's not viable, but like I'd spend all day making videos, so it would be a solid 8, 9, 10 hours possibly, making the career mode videos, editing, commentating, doing other small ideas here and there. So I'd keep that up for a few weeks, and then I'd slowly ease it off, but I'd try and upload every day. It would go from maybe 3 videos a day for like the first week, and then slow down to maybe 2, and then 1, and then I'll get lazy, and then I'll stop playing the game for a year. No, but it would the intention would be to upload daily for at least like a month or 2, and then I think it slows down to about a video every other day, which I think is kind of like my schedule on average.
That's sustainable, isn't it? Especially if you want to make a good video and put time into it.
Yeah, you don't want to force something that's low quality or you're not really passionate about, or whatever.
It's a lot easier to make more interesting videos when the games come out, isn't it? Because everyone's new to it, so therefore you can produce more videos because everyone's excited, and you're more excited because you're playing it for the first time. So the energy's always really high, I guess. Yeah,
the energy, the motivation. It's so much is new. You want to just do everything, and then you you eventually cover lots of videos on things that you want to make, and then you need to slow down and kind of pace yourself because you don't want to run out of things to do by the 3rd month of the game, and you've still got 7 months to go to get to the next year's game. And that's something that I've probably got wrong a little bit in the past. Like sometimes there definitely have been games where I've burnt out. I think 2018, I think I quit career mode a little bit quite early. I think I might have stopped in like November or December and taken a big break, and then eventually came back to it. Even now, I haven't uploaded a career mode video in a really long time, but I am entertaining myself with other things like league racing and iRacing and just online videos. So yeah, I don't think that'll be much of a problem with this year's game, because there's 2 separate career modes we can do. We can do the My Team, and then we can also just do the regular style career mode. So I think this will be one of the most stacked years for content we've ever seen. Because they just keep condensing stuff into their game. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
I'm interested to see what happens, because I honestly haven't really played much F1 2019, so I'm a bit blind, but I will play a bit more F1 2020, I'm sure about that. But yeah, it's been great to see the development over the last couple of years of that, for sure. I've got a note here about interviewing the F1 drivers back in Abu Dhabi 2017, because was that your first time getting that sort of opportunity? Because it's a mental opportunity to have 2 F1 drivers there to interview. I mean, what were your sort of thoughts going into that?
Oh, Alex, I was absolutely bricking myself. This is a guy who had never done an interview before, and here I find myself on the other side of the world interviewing 2 Formula One drivers in front of a crowd of people. I touched upon this, and I said like I was a bit nervous when I used to do oral presentations. But I not only had the nervousness of holding an interview in front of people, but I was just genuinely nervous to talk to Formula One drivers. I had two either side of me. I had two to my left. But yeah, I was shaking. I probably couldn't tell that much on camera because I watched it back and I was like, oh, that didn't look so bad.
It looks natural.
Yeah, but I was like so stiff and didn't know what to say, and I was if I did it now, I'd be a lot more relaxed. I don't think talking to F1 drivers is really bothers me as much as it did back then, because at the end of the day, they're just people. They enjoy their racing, and they just want to have a good conversation, a good interview, a good chat, whatever. But yeah, it went all right. I actually forgot to record on one of my microphones for that interview. I had to use my crappy lesser camera microphone, so the audio didn't turn out that well. But it was a really, really cool experience going to Abu Dhabi, interviewing them, and being in the paddock, being part of F1 esports for the first time. That was the same time they were all part of the paddock, and it was just one of the most surreal weekends of my life, I think, that weekend. It's been awesome, and I absolutely love those kind of opportunities. I don't think it'll ever get old for me.
I know you guys are very lucky.
Oh, we are so lucky. We're so spoiled. I do realize that. So
it's great that you can produce the videos out of it. So I mean, it's not like it's just you getting the opportunity. You know, people get to see it as well.
Yeah, I get to share it with everyone as well, which is the coolest thing, and everyone really enjoys it, and it's just nice to see everybody enjoy that type of content.
I mean, I'm interested. A little bit after that, I think maybe half a year later, you actually moved to the UK, like properly. Well, how big of a step does it mean? I can't imagine moving the other side of the world at all, really. So, what was the process for you? Was it just like, this is where I need to be to make the content I want, sort of thing?
Yeah, got to a point where I just wanted to move out of home. I think I got a bit too big for my room in a way. And it just made sense to move to the UK because my girlfriend was living here at the time, and the channel was blowing up. Veloce had approached me and got me on board, and in order for things to progress a little bit more, I had to be in the UK. Just for a lot of reasons, it just made sense, like the time zones, and so it was very daunting packing up my life and moving. I lived at home for 20 odd years, and the first time I moved is to the other side of the world. So that was a real eye-opening experience, very stressful, having to pack everything up, send it away, sell everything. It was really stressful. You just take it one day at a time. But since moving, it's been awesome. I don't regret it for a second. It's really benefited my channel, and I guess my social life as well, because I go out a lot more here. I have a lot more friends. Believe it or not, I actually have a lot less friends in Australia than what I do here. So it's been really good. I just wish lockdown was over so I could fully enjoy it again.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Veloce there. It's obviously insane to see what they've done over the last couple of years, and obviously you've been a pivotal part of that. Were you ever wondering about what this sort of opportunity was, where it would go? I mean, obviously it's all worked out really, really well, but I guess it's quite a big step, isn't it, to sort of change up something that you've been working towards for probably 7 years at that point? Yeah,
it was interesting to be associated with an esports team. I don't think I fully understood what that meant. It was quite a scary prospect at the time. Am I still going to be able to upload the kind of content that I want? Am I going to lose my branding or my identity? But they quickly reassured me and kind of outlined, what their plan was, and the things that we could do. And it was just a no-brainer. I thought I was going to be like an esports driver kind of thing at first, because F1 esports still back then was quite new, but we learned pretty quickly that the content side of thing was going to be the focus. And those guys have given me so many really cool opportunities and really helped me out with equipment and planning stuff. And I really do owe a lot to Veloce. They've especially recently, they've just created a lot of opportunities, and they've really bridged the gap between sim racing and the real sport. It's been awesome.
I was going to mention like the opportunities, because obviously we've touched on a few, like the V8 supercars, the interviewing F1 drivers. I mean, do you recall what your favourite sort of opportunities outside those have been? I mean, I guess there have been so many, it's probably hard to remember all of them.
I'm not really sure, to be honest. There has been a good few.
I guess working with the esports teams is probably kind of mental to be associated with that Alfa Romeo, for example.
Yeah. They recently took me to Barcelona for the pre-season test. So I got to go there, be in the paddock, just film some stuff. I literally just went there for a day, saw some drivers, and then it was sprung on us like last second. Me, Arav, and Formula Danny, we interviewed some of the Alfa Romeo drivers, so like Antonio Giovinazzi and Robert Kubica. We had it was literally just like chatting to some friends. We were just having a really off-the-cuff interview with some funny kind of questions and getting to know those guys. And I can't remember if we went in the garage or not, but that's a really cool experience, seeing how a Formula One team operates and seeing the feedback that they give when they're out on track. And they really go to some really high level of detail, talking about the wind and tire pressures and wing angles, just lots of things. I'm forgetting a lot of things, but yeah, they talk about a lot, and it's really, really awesome to get that insight. So yeah, that's just one opportunity. I'm sure there's a glaring one that I've missed, but doing the virtual races that we're doing with F1 drivers, like Veloce literally kicked that off. The race in Australia got cancelled. The drivers, like some of them were still on their way back to Europe, and Veloce already had the wheels turning, was signing up drivers like Lando Norris to get involved. And literally the Sunday night, the day that the Australian Grand Prix should have taken place, we were holding not the Australian Grand Prix and just breaking down those barriers. It is what it is today. With the virtual GP and all these celebrities involved, it's just mental.
I was going to say, that was literally my next question, how involved real F1 has now got because of lockdown. I mean, you see like half the F1 grid or something I saw that is basically on Twitch now. It's kind of insane when you think about that. It's just like, pff. And they're now technically a part of the community that you, me, and many others started like 10 years ago. When you think about it, maybe it's a stretch, I don't know.
Yeah, it is really cool to see that they're so involved, and you get to see their personalities. I think that's something that you don't exactly get to see or enjoy as much on a typical F1 weekend with, you know, press and journalists and whatever. They're so serious, but you watch them on their Twitch streams and they're just having a laugh with each other, just like, you know, me, Matt, Harry, and all those guys did on YouTuber Championship and stuff. To see that personality come across and enjoying themselves so much on the F1 game has really been great for the community. It's been great for the game. It's been great for us to just have some entertainment, and to be able to share a virtual racetrack with those guys has just been so surreal.
And I mean, like, you're chatting with them as well, you're making videos with them. I mean, I can't imagine that even 1 year ago, let alone saying 5 or 10 years ago. It's great to see. I mean, I think Lando Norris has probably helped that with, you know, doing streaming for a long time, but I don't think any of us would have expected. I mean, obviously it's happened because of the situation, but I think that's probably one positive at least we can take out of it.
Oh, definitely. I'm quite interested to see how it evolves over the next few months. I think this whole situation has probably changed sim racing forever. I'd like to see them continue to keep playing on the F1 games, to keep streaming. It's definitely introduced them to it, and it's become a habit. So I think yeah, this is going to be big news for sim racing, and who knows, we might see them, you know, compete against each other virtually. It might be part of a regular F1 race weekend. That'd be so surreal to have the whole field like all talking to each other and having a stream and whatever. And it's only going to mean big things. It's only going to be big things for the official F1 esports series when that gets back underway.
Well, I've only got a couple more questions. Obviously, it's been nearly an hour now, so
time's flown.
I know, right? I mean, it's a great story. Loads of interesting stuff in here. So, do you look back at anything now as maybe your biggest achievement, maybe on YouTube, for example? As, I mean, 100k, I guess, is probably the big number that maybe stands out. But I guess maybe the opportunities and the people you've met along the way probably mean maybe just as much. I don't know. Oh,
definitely. Yeah, I've made some lifelong friends along this whole YouTube journey. People, even if I stop YouTube today, I'll still be talking to in 5-10 years' time. just unforgettable experiences I've been able to do. I do realize I'm really, really lucky, as well as just having the YouTube success, I guess, that I've had. It's been really, really cool, and I just want to keep doing it as long as I can. I can't imagine me doing something else and being as happy as what I am. So it's been awesome.
And the future, I guess it's kind of hard to tell right now because we're in a bit of a tricky situation. But have you got any sort of big plans that you wanna take part in 2020, or is there anything that you want to sort of tick off the bucket list in the next couple of years?
I've got some big plans already for later this year. Things which I can't talk about yet. It'll be coming out soon, hopefully. But there is a lot of things I want to do. I actually want to travel a lot more this year. I wanted to go to Monaco. I wanted to go to like Italy. I wanted to go to like America, stuff like that. See more F1 races. The dream was always to like make a video with an F1 driver, but now I've done that quite a bit. But I guess to do that, make a F1 gaming video, driving against them in person or whatever. That'd be the goal, to just get even closer to the sport and continue to create new and exciting content, which I haven't done before. I've still got a lot of ideas. So now that we've had this opportunity with these guys to get a lot closer, I think the potential is there to make some really cool stuff once we get going again.
Awesome. That was my last question. Thank you for your hour and whatever now. It's gone on a bit longer than I expected because I guess there's so much to talk about. But thank you. And it's been great to see how you and many other people now have made a great career out of YouTube. No
worries, Alex. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's really cool just to go back down memory lane and just talk about how far things have come. It's really, really awesome. And I hope I haven't bored you guys too much. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I'll do the typical housekeeping things for you, Alex. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I'll make sure I direct some people to come have a look at this because I think they'll be quite interested in the story. So really looking forward to watching back the video and seeing how it goes.
Cool. Well, thank you again, and we'll see you soon.